Welcome to Passages, the podcast where life gets deep, friendship gets real, and the wisdom of the Bible flows, usually right after a debate about tacos and Bigfoot. Join Patrick Birch, Drew Kaiser, Jason Pulliam, and Tim Layton as they explore Scripture, share great quotes, and occasionally get sidetracked by snacks and bad preachers.
Welcome, you're listening to Passages. The four are reunited, and it feels so good. We got Patrick, Jason, Tim, and myself, and we're excited here on this Thanksgiving Eve. We've had our Thanksgiving service here at the church, an annual tradition here. Had a great time of worship and fellowship together, and we just decided, holiday or not, we're going to do another episode of Passages.
Hey, I want to say thank you to everyone who contributed to the Thanksgiving meal this last Sunday. That was really, really good. The turkey was excellent, and that was probably one of the best group of sides we've had in a while.
And that's coming from Jason Pulliam.
Yep.
That is quite a compliment. This is not a man who likes fellowship meals.
I actually enjoyed that meal quite a bit. So thank you, people.
It was very good.
Oh, is it my turn? I thought there was.
And last week, we didn't have Tim and Patrick with us, so we're glad to have them back. We missed you guys. Nathan did a good job in your absence, but it's just not. We got the family back together now.
We have dubbed him now Nathan Whispers Hard. That's his new nickname, Whispers.
He doesn't whisper in person.
No, but
ever.
You put a mic near him, he gets.
Man, that guy.
I'm just glad he
didn't
sneeze into the microphone because we would have had to replace every piece of equipment in here because he would have blown it out.
Oh, there's
he sure would have.
Yeah.
No one sneezes.
We would have had
like
to turn that into one of our sound effects.
Yeah,
and I tell you, with it amplified into the earphones,
yes,
man, my eardrums would still be ringing.
It's our sound effect that destroys everyone's speakers anytime we use it.
Yeah.
So Patrick, where were you hanging out?
Yeah, it was good to be back, y'all. We had a little work trip to San Francisco and
the left coast.
Let me just say, okay place to visit. Would never want to live there. It is busy. It is chaotic. And I mean, you step in just the wrong section of a sidewalk and you'll run into somebody.
Now, I have heard that the weather there is perfect, though. Did you experience good weather?
So it never got above 60 while we were there.
That's perfect.
And I wore this hoodie the entire time and never did I feel cold, but it was cool.
Okay.
And I do, sometimes you wake up in the morning and you need to like blow, you're stopped up, you need to blow your nose. Not into a hanky. But I didn't realize it until I got back, but I did not wake up at all with a stuffy nose while I was there.
Interesting.
Wow.
We ended up staying in a hotel that I will never stay in again. It was called Hotel G, and it's in a building that was built in 1909. And I guess through the years has been renovated, but just the smell, just the old smell was not good. And I figured out it's basically a death trap. So I was on the 5th floor of this hotel, which was, fine. It was far enough off the street that you kind of couldn't hear what was going on all night. And right outside of my door was a giant red cylindrical section of the building that had a spiral staircase that was the emergency exit that went straight to the 2nd floor.
So in case of emergency, you go to the 2nd floor where you die.
and then once you're on the 2nd floor, you have to traverse the hallway back to roughly the center of the building. Well, all the buildings in San Francisco are just one building, right? Because if one catches on fire, they're all going out. Yeah. But you got to go back to the middle of this, building and take another stairwell down. And it's literally, other than the elevators, it's the one way out. And I got to looking around just because we were kind of back for a couple hours before dinner. I got to walking around trying to figure out, is this real? Because I don't know how. I guess it's so grandfathered in, and California laws are so permissive on this that they didn't have to do anything to get you all the way, out a door. But I ended up walking down a hallway, and someone goes, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, "Oh no." My immediate thought is I'm somewhere I'm not supposed to be. And she came out to talk to me a little bit and was telling me a little bit about the building. And I pointed out the whole fire exit thing. Her immediate response was, "It was approved by the city."
She thought you were an inspector or something.
Yeah. And then after she kind of figured out that I was just looking, she goes, "I've never noticed that before, but you're right." And so, but that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk a little bit about the future. Into the future. You guys, the coolest thing that has happened to me in a while happened to me in San Francisco.
All right.
So when you go to San Francisco, there were 9 of us. So you don't rent anything. I mean, really, you don't rent anything anyway because there's nowhere to park. So you Uber. Silicon Valley, that area, the birthplace of Uber. So we get to the hotel and via Uber, and when we are starting to walk around, because you do a lot of walking there, we see these cars that have all these sensors all over them. And if you look hard enough, you notice there's no driver. And a company.
What is this witchcraft of which you speak?
Right. There's a company called Waymo, and it is a subsidiary of Google. So Google owns them.
Does it cost way more than an Uber?
No, it costs way less than an Uber. So we Ubered around the first couple of days, just a little bit. We did mostly walking, but every now and then you get in an Uber. And so I got to looking at these things. I was like, okay, we got to try one of these. I cannot leave here without trying one of these cars, and one of these self-driving cars.
So just another app?
It's just another app. You literally download it. I gave it my email address and a credit card, and it said, "Where to, Patrick." And it works just like Uber. You type in an address or a place, you hit go. It gives you kind of the pricing, tells you how long it'll take a car to come to you. And then you stand and kind of wait. And for the most part, it comes to where you hail it via GPS. Every now and then there's no stopping zones, which it's aware of in some way. And it'll say, you need to walk around the corner, or you need to go across, 2 blocks this way, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so we picked it up one night going to dinner, which was just, we could have walked to dinner, but we need to try this. And I was standing out in front of the hotel. I clicked, bring me a car, and a car showed up like 2 minutes later. And
without a driver.
No driver in this car.
These are small cars, large cars.
These are Jaguar I-Paces. So they are electric vehicles. They'll hold 4 people because you can't sit in the driver's seat. So 3 in the back, 1 in the passenger seat. And there's signs all in the inside, like don't touch anything. The wheel in there is turning and all this. But it's got all these sensors all over it. It uses LiDAR, which is a kind of like radar, and cameras. And these things operate, I'm calling them basically first-class citizens on the road. They pull out into traffic. They go, at speed. They keep up with people. If you're on a 2-lane road, bidirectional road, and there's a delivery truck stopped in your lane, it will pull up behind that truck. It will peek out and wait for it to be clear, and it will go around this in the opposing lane.
That's amazing.
And as you're sitting there, first of all, the first time you're in it, it's kind of like, we're going to die. But also there's 300 of these things. You can't walk anywhere in San Francisco without seeing these things. And so I don't know how many they have, but there's hundreds of them. And it kind of started reminding me of the sea of yellow cabs in New York, because they just seem to be everywhere. But you get in one and it gives you this little quick, you need to buckle up. It'll ding at you if you don't buckle up. Gives you just a quick, it's kind of like getting on an airplane, don't touch anything, gives you the pre-flight talk, and then it takes off. And it accelerates like confidently, like you would expect a human to do. It deals with traffic and people walking in front of the cars and stuff. People like to mess with them, I guess. it was super cool.
Wow.
And we ended up taking it around town more than Ubers, partly because they were cheaper. The one trip that I sort of looked at both on, Uber was $47 and some change, and the Waymo was like 23.
Oh, so a big
That's a
difference.
huge
yeah.
difference.
So what year do y'all predict that Leeds, Alabama will see a driverless car?
You know, it's not exactly so. Driverless cars, we can talk about Tesla, for example. They have some automation in them, but you have to be in the driver's seat and you have to be, it watches
But you sent us a video. There is, it's
Not
an
not
empty
a person
driver's
in the
seat
driver's
and the
seat.
steering wheel turning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in a Tesla, it's got cameras that are watching you. And if you pick up your phone or you fall asleep or something, it will stop moving or pull over or whatever. So there's sort of this class of like fancy cruise control.
Mhm.
And then there's this literal, there was no one in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
And if I could get one of those, I would sell my house to have one. I mean, not really, but I mean, I would pay a lot of money. I would find a way to afford it because it
Waymo,
was so awesome.
I can give you his number and address if you want to reach out to him.
It was awesome. And I'm sure it's not like you could just transplant a Waymo to Leeds.
No.
It's probably got a lot of learning and I'm sure it has driven around with a driver and kind of air quote learned some stuff and you don't just transplant it. But it wouldn't do things like go across the Golden Gate Bridge. It's like it had a boundary. It wouldn't go to the airport because you had to get on the interstate. I guess it's not ready for interstate yet.
Okay.
So see, people, even cars have boundaries. You should too.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How does it know, or how do you know which one is yours? Like after a concert, when there's a whole bunch of these coming to a crowd of people.
That it's actually pretty cool. So in the app, it knows your name because you've given it your name and a credit card, and it pulls up and there's this thing on top, and it looks like an old like an old timey police car with the big giant light on top. Well, it's got one of those. Not for like flashing red or anything, but here's a picture of what one looks like.
Okay.
And it's got this thing on, it's got this thing on top. And so there's two parts to this. This bottom part is all the sensors and cameras. And then this part up here, if you watch it, is just spinning really fast. And it is a sign. So when it pulls up, your initials show up on it. So if there's 3 or 4 of them, which we ran into that, we were in an area where it was picking up multiple people. Multiple cars were picking up multiple people. And so like PB shows up there. And as you walk up to the car in the app, you tap unlock and then the car unlocks so you can get in it. So it doesn't just let
like a double.
anybody in. Yeah. I was trying to find a quick picture
I wouldn't have imagined that push a button on the app to unlock the car.
I'm pretty terrified
really cool.
by it.
I mean,
it's really cool. It's a little terrifying.
It's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't get super impressed by things anymore, but that was I'm super jaded, I guess, but that was very cool.
I mean, you shot us a text of you riding, a video of you riding in it. That said a lot, that you took the time to video and send it to us.
Yep.
That's neat.
It was super awesome. I wish they had some around here because I would just sell my cars and use them.
So Drew and Tim, y'all are like me. You've been in Peru. Is it safer to ride in that or a taxi in Peru?
Definitely the
driverless car.
Yeah,
no doubt.
definitely.
Yeah, I think that's unanimous. Yeah.
The times that no driver is better than a driver.
Now, will that car in Peru one time, a bunch of us got in this car and the guy got out and looked at the side of the car and the clearance to the road. And he made somebody get out. He's like, you can't all ride.
Oh,
We've had that happen.
Yeah.
So,
well, this thing only lets 4 people in at a time. I mean, there's only 4 seats. I guess you could. We joked a little bit about there were 5 of us. Maybe somebody lays across the back. But there are cameras in it.
Yeah.
And I have to imagine there's some control center somewhere with some people sitting in it where they can either take control of a car or they can cause one to stop.
Yeah.
Because one guy we were with just couldn't keep his hands to himself, and he tried to turn on the windshield wipers, and the car didn't do anything reckless, but inside the music cut off and it dinged several times, and the robot voice said something like, please don't touch the controls. A rider support will contact you shortly. And the car took us to our destination, but we were in timeout the whole time, and they never contacted us. But it doesn't.
You're in timeout, meaning you couldn't use the music anymore.
Yeah. It's got a screen in it where
That's pretty funny.
It's got a screen in it where it kind of shows
The next thing, these shackles grab your arms.
Right.
I tell you, if it had an auto eject and it just shot you out the roof.
Where did Joe go? I told him not to touch those controls.
It's got a screen in it, like where your infotainment is in normal cars, and you can watch it sort of make decisions. So it shows you the road and cars that it's detected and people and things. And it has its path, and it shows you as it's trying, where it's maneuvering and what it's about to do before it does it, while it's making decisions. Cause it made several decisions that I was sitting here thinking, just go around it, or you can run that. It runs yellow lights. If the light turns yellow and it can make it, it will speed up and run the yellow light.
Hey, if that thing would make a decision about where I was going to eat on Sunday after church, I'd have one now. Save about 45 minutes of discussion.
We kind of came up with a side business, Google, if you're listening. You should do autonomous tours of San Francisco. Let me book a tour. It's an hour or two. It drives me around with a pre-recorded thing. It might stop in a couple places, let you out to explore. And then, back in the app, you click continue and another one comes and picks you up. That would be pretty cool. And, maybe even the cars could do it when they're idle. If they're idle. Those things were all over the place.
And every one of them was the same model. There's not a larger size and a smaller size.
We didn't find one that would do more than four. But I think they have some different models, but I think this is what they've standardized on. And you can see on the four corners, they've put these.
Those are more sensors.
Those are sensors. There's one here in the center and then this big thing on top. And like when it was going around the stop delivery truck, it peeked that front corner out. And I guess that sensor was looking to see if it was clear. It's kind of like you would kind of just get over and you kind of lean over in your car to look. It was doing the same thing. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
How they've designed this.
So are they in other cities right now, or?
So from what I read, they are in Atlanta, which I'm not real sure.
Interesting.
I'm not real sure I would want to drive one in Atlanta. That seems really bad. Like I don't know how they're doing it in Atlanta with all the cars, but according to their website,
I think there are more cars in Atlanta than San Francisco.
And I think people drive way crazier in Atlanta.
Yeah, a lot less walkers in Atlanta.
Right.
Too.
Yeah.
Not a lot of pedestrian
Everybody's
traffic.
driving.
Yeah.
According to their website, they're in Phoenix, Arizona, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Austin, and Atlanta.
I wonder if in all of them they just do the surface streets and they don't do the.
I'm not sure. I did read when on Friday when we got back, I was seeing if they were a public company who can invest in them, because I think they're going to explode. But that's not financial advice. I'm not a.
Are they privately held or are they public?
Well, they're owned by Google. So it's a subsidiary of Google that is private.
Yeah.
When I got back, California opened it up to the whole Bay Area, that included the airport and some across the bridge stuff. But Waymo hasn't expanded to that. That happened like on Friday. So,
so it's coming.
They'll
be on the
It's got to be. Yeah. I trusted them more than I trusted some of the Uber drivers.
No doubt.
I would say
No doubt.
it's safer. Sounds like it to me. Tomorrow's a big day, guys. Turkey Day.
Oh yeah.
Thanksgiving. I don't know if you guys are celebrating. I think all four of us are celebrating somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Indeed.
We already did my family's celebration on Tuesday, and we're going to Julie's side of the family tomorrow. And so I thought I'd get a Thanksgiving theme. Thanksgiving is fun for some families, and for some families, it's not much fun at all. Is it raining in here?
No, I was trying to pull up some turkeys gobbling, but
It's very peaceful.
there they are.
Yeah. They're running from us right now.
How's the turkey?
Yeah. You hear all these horror stories about Thanksgiving and people that get real political at the dinner table and family squabbles and things. So I thought it'd be good for all of us to dwell on things you should not talk about at Thanksgiving dinner. And this is a little list. It's done by Reader's Digest. And I thought that might
I probably should be writing
spark some
Hand
conversation.
me that pen, Tim.
These are the 11 worst things you could say to a family member over the holidays.
Drew, they're calling this Thanksgiving grenades on the social media.
Oh, that's good. Thanksgiving grenades. The 11 Thanksgiving grenades.
What the kids are calling it.
Okay, here's the first one. How much butter did you use in this? So that's criticism disguised as a question, right? Once you're there, these meals take a long time to prepare. With my family, we all pitched in, so it wasn't as bad, but tomorrow, Julie's mom will do all the cooking.
Now, if you have major cholesterol issues, though, that could be a health question. It would depend on the tone.
It does depend on the tone.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just be
how
asking.
much butter did you use?
Like Jackson would ask, are there nuts in this?
Yeah.
And there's no problem with that. That's completely understandable. But when you taste it and then you say, how much butter did you put in this?
That would be bad.
Can you put too much butter in anything?
I'm not
Paula
sure.
Dean would disagree with that.
I don't know that it's
She
even
would
possible.
fight over it.
Yeah.
And I have pills to help with the cholesterol. Bring on the butter.
Okay, here's the next one. Remember when Mike fell down the stairs at Grandma's Christmas party? That's the comment where, and these are just examples of each faux pas. You keep bringing up an embarrassing moment that has bad memories for everybody at the table except for you. In my family, on Julie's side, it's the time her Uncle Bobby pulled the chair out when her Aunt Becky was about to sit down. You know that move. And she fell hard at the dinner table one Thanksgiving, and her grandparents were not happy at all when that happened. But maybe there are moments like that the whole family would rather forget, but somebody keeps bringing them up. That's what that one is.
Yeah.
Here's this one for the college students. So how's the semester going? What are you majoring in again? That seems natural. I'm not sure I agree with that one, but the article says, college students feel like they have to brace themselves for the holiday interrogation to the point where they might decide they'd rather stay in their dorm rooms. And they do. I think it's the thing where they've already had to answer the question 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And college students, they're kind of soft,
I think sort of the kids these days, they don't like talking to people anyway. So when you get to having sort of a forced conversation, and then one that you have all the time of, well, what are you studying?
Yeah. And if they would just talk a little more without being prompted, they wouldn't feel like they're being interrogated.
This is a really good sort of life lesson. Have an elevator speech. For kind of what's going on in your life.
Like you can use it on different levels.
Yes. No. Like a 30, 60 second,
what are you majoring in?
Yeah. Because if
just be prepared for it.
Yeah.
Just accept
have
it.
a little something that you can small talk with.
Yeah. If grandma asks, what are you majoring in? And you're in like molecular biology, she's going to go, what is that? You need just a quick sort of, they call it an elevator speech, something you can give in the span of an elevator ride, and then you get out of there. So,
yeah,
that's a good tip. I hope people are listening. All right, this one's self-explanatory.
Elevator speech.
You're still single? Why haven't you settled down yet?
When am I getting grandkids?
Well, I was going to add that in, and it may come up later on this list.
You got a girlfriend?
Yeah.
That was all. That was always an awkward question.
Yeah.
Or hey, I know this really nice girl at church.
To me, that's the first grenade.
Yes.
That's the first grenade you've thrown that would take off a limb.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones would just be flesh wounds. But that one, that's a bad one.
That's a bad one. And the one about kids, I mean, if you're dealing with infertility issues, you got some real problems going on, you don't want to get into that with people. And that can be a very insensitive question.
But you can end the conversation quickly if you do get into it really quickly with them. Well, actually, this is what happened.
Yeah.
Foot and mouth, they're done.
Yeah. You look so different. Did you lose weight? And correct me if I'm wrong, the weight loss comment is almost as bad or is as bad as the weight gain comment. Because, okay, here's several reasons. So one is maybe you haven't lost weight and it suddenly makes you think, this person has been thinking I needed to lose weight and they're trying to encourage me. Or you could be sick and not trying to lose weight. Or you may be aware that you don't look great, because of sickness or some kind of weight loss you didn't need to do. And now they've just drawn it to your attention that it's obvious.
The corollary to that is that the right word? Is you're so skinny, you need to eat more. It's kind of the opposite of that.
Yeah.
I do have one, I guess, scenario where I think that one's okay. And that's if the person has a stated weight loss goal that is public.
Yeah.
Then you're saying, hey, I can tell you're meeting your goal.
If
you're
you've
looking
been
good.
posting your CrossFit pictures to Facebook or talking about your weight loss journey, then it's totally kosher to answer that, or ask that question.
I mean, you could put it not condescending, but you could be like, hey, I'm noticing your progress, because that'll make somebody feel good. In that scenario.
Here is number 6. My daughter just got promoted to VP. My son made the varsity team, and we're taking a Mediterranean cruise in the spring.
Yeah.
A little boastful.
Yeah.
What are y'all doing?
That's where you throw out the whoop-de-doo.
Yeah. Number 7. Why are you only eating salad?
Ooh.
I hear that a lot. Not to me. I'm not on a restrictive diet, but my mother was on a restrictive diet for like 30 years. And she didn't want to talk to people about her health problems. And she really didn't like all that attention. And so she would eat, she'd stay away from carbs and sugar. And sometimes that meant she was just eating a chicken breast. Well, everybody had to draw to, Mary Jane, you're about to waste away. Don't you need to eat something? Eat some more. And then she'd have to get into all her personal stuff.
I think that's where you were talking about an elevator speech. You need a canned answer ready for that. Why are you eating just lettuce?
Because it's going to happen.
Because the roughage helps clean out my colon.
Or
just have an answer for
or if I eat anything else, you're not going to want to use your bathroom for the next week.
just come up with, just have pre-planned canned answers for these things.
I also really like the thought of making the person saying something dumb like this the most uncomfortable you can.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like, make them never want to ask you a question again.
See, I don't like to be uncomfortable. I don't want to make other people uncomfortable. That makes me uncomfortable. I tend to act like something never happened, but that doesn't always work when you're being asked straight questions. So here's the next one. It's been a year and you still owe me $500.
Ooh, don't loan money to family or friends.
Right.
And if you owe
That's
money,
the first problem.
And if you owe money to family or friends, don't go to Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah. If you got to have a tough financial conversation with somebody, don't do it at Thanksgiving dinner.
No, that gets
You should
awkward.
call them at a different time. Oh, and here it is. This next one, we skipped ahead on this one. So when are you two having kids? So we already talked about the problem with that. They, in this article, they're giving what you should say instead. So instead of saying that, you should say, what's something fun you've done lately? Or any exciting plans for the new year?
Why don't just not ask people questions?
Right. Okay,
Just
and the
sit
last
inside.
two,
Oh, yeah, I got fun plans. I'm going on a Mediterranean cruise
yes, yeah, there you go.
because I don't have kids.
That's great.
And life is grand.
How long's it been since you've been on a Mediterranean cruise?
And yes, I have lost weight so I could fit in my swimsuit.
yeah.
On my Mediterranean cruise without kids.
I've
That's
been
why
working on my cruise
And
bod.
that's why I'm eating this salad.
And by the way, you might ought to lay off the pecan pie. I don't usually say pecan. I don't know why I said it that way just now. It's
For effect.
pecan.
It was
It's
fun.
pecan.
I say pecan. Pecan pie.
Now,
Hey,
what are the
pecan.
two things that you're not supposed to talk to people about?
Money,
Oh, what's the old saying?
Religion and
politics.
And politics and religion. So these last two are expected. Next to the last, organized religion is for sheeple. I guess that's their sample
yeah.
comment.
Yeah.
And nobody would ever say that.
Mm.
So, but Reader's Digest says don't say that. In other words, don't bring up religion at the table. Now, there are exceptions to that. You know, I'm fortunate enough to have a family where everybody is of like-minded faith, and we talked about the Bible and religion. But you know, when there's somebody at the table for whom that's an uncomfortable topic or a controversial topic, have the conversation with them, but not at Thanksgiving dinner. And then the last one is, I can't believe anyone would support fill in the blank a political figure. Don't talk politics at the dinner table.
don't debate Donald Trump and MAGA over your turkey.
Yeah, I
'cause
think that's
one of
more
your-
true this year than in
'Cause
other
one of your
years.
relatives might call you piggy.
Yeah, quiet piggy. Wow. Quiet. That's what you can say to somebody who asks you a dumb question.
Yeah.
Quiet piggy, quiet.
I think the general rule is don't be critical, number one.
Yeah.
So don't criticize what they look like, what they're wearing, something like that. I think don't be critical. Don't ask financially sensitive questions. Well, you getting a bonus this year, Tim? Don't ask those kind of questions.
Stay away from topics that people are sensitive about. Politics, religion, their bodies, their diets, money.
And I would
you'll be
encourage
all right.
you as individuals to come up with as many just uncomfortable responses as you can, because we all know the questions that family ask. If you can have a few really, they'll stop asking you questions.
Yeah.
I
Y'all
heard-
come up with a few good ones tonight.
I heard some advice around the whole you've lost weight, that could, like your physical appearance. Don't make a comment or talk about something somebody can't fix in a couple of minutes. Like, hey, you've got
that's
some
good advice.
food in your beard, right?
Yeah.
That's or your flies down.
Yeah,
Like you can
that's
fix
good.
that immediately. Or hey, you're really skinny. You should eat a sandwich. Well, they can't. Eating a sandwich is not going to help
Gonna
them
fix
in the
it,
next
yeah.
5 minutes.
It's not a.
I like that is a good rule. Don't
Instant
bring it up
fix.
unless they can fix it in the next 5 minutes.
It's
I
very
like
good,
that.
very wise, Patrick.
That
Yeah. I mean, families are important. And I think sometimes people just think their political ideas are more important. And of course, faith is important, but we've got to live in this world with each other. And Thanksgiving is a rare time where people really go to a lot of trouble to get together. Our jobs give us time off. So let's put all those things aside just for 2 hours at the dinner table or a day or however long it is. And then we can get back to fighting when it's all over.
That's right.
Yeah.
I do
It's
think
okay to put that stuff aside for a minute.
do think it's interesting how many people let politics sort of become their identity. It's the only thing they want to talk about. They're not, they only talk about Fox News or CNBC, CNN, or what's the other one? CNBC?
MSNBC.
MSNBC. Where am I getting CNBC from?
Well, that's a financial.
Yeah. Clearly, I don't watch the 24-hour news cycle. I mean, I know people like that, and it's like their whole identity is wrapped up in, Trump did this thing or Biden did that thing, and that's all you ever talk to them about. It's pretty boring
Either
conversation.
somebody is mad or they don't know what you're talking about. 80% of the people in the room don't care.
Right.
And the other 20% are infatuated by those things that really have no day-to-day impact on them other than it owns a large amount of real estate in their brain.
And they can do nothing about.
Yep. And it lives rent-free in their head.
Yes.
In that large amount of real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's easier for people to focus on politics than their own problems?
I kind of wonder if that's true because the 24-hour news cycle, I think, is
it's always
a
on.
huge problem in society, just like, screens are, social media. But it's almost like people just let that become their whole life. And to your point, Tim, half the stuff doesn't really affect your day to day.
But a lot of times the stuff going on out there is a whole lot more exciting than what's going on in your world. So you're trying to find something exciting to talk about. It's like, well,
I don't think politics are exciting.
I went to another doctor today and they did some tests compared to, did you see what so-and-so political leader said today to it's that draw of the excitement that social media brings, I think.
I think we could add that to the list of things not to talk about at the table, your health problems.
Yeah.
Look at this mold. Does it look different than it did last year?
Unless grandma asks.
Yeah.
She might legitimately want to be catching up with you and seeing how you are.
But the others at the table are
well,
trying
you don't
to
have.
eat.
I guess you don't have to do it at the table. You can do it off the side later.
And don't bring up your own health problems. Like, I got this mole back here. It's bothering me. The doctor said that I could just sit on my left side a little bit and it takes pressure, but if they remove it, they think it's an ingrown hair. No one in the family cares.
Shape of the state of Texas.
Jason, you're a doctor, aren't you? Check out the color of this thing. Is it
Grandma,
it look different than it looked like at our birthday celebration?
Grandma, unless your contact fell out, I'm not going to help you.
And then maybe not even then.
Yeah, you're being generous with the content.
If you'll get that wallet out, I'll help you with anything you need.
All right, so I've got a Yay Sports. I'm running a little audible here.
Okay.
The team, go sports.
All right, can you just explain what's going on here?
Thank you. I have no idea.
I love it. Always good. Okay, so y'all have probably heard this this sports story. It has a little bit of a local flair to it. It has to do with Gainesville High School in Gainesville, Georgia. Gainesville early this year played Moody, and they are a very large high school in Georgia. And Josh Niblett, who used to be the coach at Hoover and at Oxford, is their head coach now. And so this story is I'm reading from CBS News. It's gained national attention. Obviously. So this says a judge has reinstated dozens of Gainesville High School football players who'd been suspended following a fight that ended last week's playoff game. I'll try not to read to you, but they were playing Brunswick High, and they were up 42-0, and a fight started. School officials said Brunswick players punched multiple Gainesville players. That's the team that was behind. Tackled them and ripped off their helmets. Athletic director Adam Lindsay said one Brunswick receiver ripped off a Gainesville player's helmet and punched him as the player backed away with his hands up. Officials announced during the game that 2 Brunswick players had been ejected. No Gainesville players were removed from play. So here's where the problem comes in. So if you had to guess, and that starts, what happens? Players come off the sidelines.
Off the sidelines.
Right. And when that happens, that's a problem. So according to the lawsuit, so there was a lawsuit involved after this original ruling. It says GHSA, so I guess that's the high school athletic, later asked Gainesville to identify anyone who left the team box and moved toward the altercation. Gainesville submitted a list of 38 players. The GHSA then issued suspensions for 39 players, one more than the Gainesville reported, declaring them ejected by virtue of their conduct, which resulted in the early termination of the contest. So I guess when this fight happened, they just called the game. All right, so Gainesville wins, but it's in the playoffs, so they move forward. So the district appealed, arguing the players acted in self-defense. On Tuesday, GHSA's Board of Trustees upheld the suspensions for all but 4 players. And so it says the filing talks about their constitution and their bylaws, state that only contest officials can eject players, and ejections or judgment calls that are not reviewable or reversible. So then they've taken it to court. So with the quarterfinal game 2 days away this Friday, Gainesville says that the suspensions will cause irreparable harm to its program, the players, and its community. The lawsuit says football players worked for years to reach this point in the playoffs, and that competing without 34 players would severely damage Gainesville's chances. Superintendent Jeremy Williams told CBS News Atlanta that Gainesville players stepped in to shield teammates after being punched and having their helmets ripped off. Head coach Josh Niblett said the ruling creates a dangerous precedent that could allow teams to ruin another team's postseason by sparking a fight. Okay, so GHSA also suspended 41 Brunswick players and fined them $5,000 and put them on probation for a year.
They were out.
But they're out.
Wait, find the students?
Find the school.
Oh, the school.
And so
it's a greater punishment for the team that was being attacked.
Right.
Because they're still in the playoffs.
Right. And that was the point the coach made that said, listen, so this team's beating your brains out. You're like, we'll show them. You start a fight, lure them into it, get a bunch of their players suspended, and ruin the rest of their season.
Well, we all had that person in high school that played on the team that the coach would say, go get in a fight with their best player and get both of you ejected. I mean, we all know that kid.
Yeah. So anyhow, in a petition filed Wednesday, the district asked the court to issue a temporary restraining order and a preliminary injunction preventing GHSA from enforcing the suspensions before the Friday night game.
Wait, a restraining order on GSHA?
On the high school
decision to suspend.
Right.
Yeah.
So on the High School Athletic Association and their ruling. So basically, let's hold up your suspensions. The kids get to play, and then they rule on it later or something.
Because there's not enough time.
Right. And it says the judge's injunction allows the Gainesville High School student athletes to participate in the upcoming quarterfinal game at Langston Hughes. As the legal challenge continues, 4 players will remain suspended. I guess they agree that those 4 were involved in a fight or whatever. Mm-hmm. So anyhow, sort of interesting happenings there. I don't know, the whole deal of, I understand the rule around coming off a bench, right? Because it can take a small fight and it can just explode. But to ask people to have the restraint of somebody is beating up your brother out there, that they've ripped their helmet off and they're flailing on them, and you're saying, but just stand back.
Mm-hmm. Well, and if they're going to enforce that in high school, they've got to start enforcing that at all levels of sports, because in the in MLB, if there's a fight, guy charges the mount, everybody comes off the field. Even the guys out of the bullpen come in.
But they know those aren't real fights.
In
right?
the NFL, players come off and all of that. The only sport that really fights fair is hockey. They just take their masks off and punch each other in the face till one of them submits.
And then the 2 of those go off and sit in the penalty box.
Yeah.
I did see, since the start of basketball season, there was a college game that ended up with like maybe 5 girls against 4 girls, because there had been a fight and folks came off the bench and everybody got suspended except for the ones who were on the court already, if they didn't get involved in the fight.
Yeah.
Like everybody came off the bench and they were all gone. And so, they take that part pretty seriously. It just seems like there ought to be some level of judgment around, you came off the bench, but you didn't, I don't know, you didn't instigate the fight further or something.
And how do you prepare your boys for that too?
Yeah,
it's not something that happens maybe once every 5 years or more infrequently than that. So do you take time every year to say, okay, in a case where people are fighting, you have to stay on the bench or we could get kicked out of the playoffs? You don't think to do that. And then even then, will they remember it in the heat of the moment?
Well, just the fact that they could come back after the game at another time, ask the school how many people left the team box.
I mean,
and
she
then
just said none.
And now,
but I'm sure they went to film, right? and
Now
started counting.
retroactively, we can suspend these kids. I don't know. Seems a bit much. Let teenagers fight a little bit. You know what's good for you? Getting punched in the mouth every now and then.
This.
Well, and one
talking about the film, it's the technology sucks the fun out of things. There are so many calls. I've been watching football this year. So many calls are reviewed that, come on, let's just go with what the official said.
Yeah.
We're all waiting on this review, and there's some reviews that last forever.
Right. And they'll freeze them down to like this millisecond in time. The guy, so I can freeze it
back and forth.
I can freeze it, and it's in his hand and his toes in.
That's not the way the game was meant to be played.
Right. It's not it's
eyeball it.
And then you say based on that, he had control and he was you can't do that. It's not like frame by frame kinds of stuff. You've got to look at the whole thing as it goes on. And I agree. It's not
handle it on the field and let's move on. That's the way they should have done with the fight.
They don't do instant replays in high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In college, they basically say that like pretty much every play is under review. Mm-hmm. And that's a problem. Because
they'll buzz in from the booth.
Right, exactly. And so, you'll go 3 quarters and everything's just flowing or whatever. And then all of a sudden, it just seems like they come in clusters, right? And it's like 3 plays in a row.
Right.
They stop. And it's like this game is just drugged to a halt.
It goes forever.
And I would hate to live life knowing that my moves are being reviewed. Oh no, look at him. He's picking the wrong thing at the. I mean, at some point you just let judgment calls be judgment.
I don't know,
calls.
Jason. Right. For $multi-million, I'd let people follow me around with a camera and review where my feet are.
Not me. Nope.
I think if somebody set a briefcase full of money right in front of you right now, you would take 5 hours for a football season. 5 hours of a Friday night and
let them follow me around.
Yeah.
Probably. You're probably right. Yeah, you're probably right.
I mean, in college now it's millions of dollars. And then of course, if you're pro, it's, hundreds of millions. So you would absolutely take that.
Yeah.
Don't talk money on Thanksgiving. We've already been over this.
Oh, sorry.
I do
There's
think
no turkey here though. So
maybe the pro version of this is a little bit better because in the pros, they can challenge like once a game or once a half or something. They have their little red flag, the head coach does. And so I think the part of it that I don't think is cool is that they also have access to the technology. So they're, they got their folks up in the booth watching it or whatever. It's like, listen, either it looked like it was something there, you gotta throw your flag or not. It seems like they ought to have to do that without the technology.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out the ruling so that they can challenge it so that their ruling works.
Yeah.
They're doing this with other college sports too. We went to, I think I talked about this, but we went to a UAB volleyball game and they had cameras on the net and it was same thing. The coaches had a card or something. They got three a game or whatever. And they would go review something that happened right at the net that, to your point, Drew, is supposed to just be a judgment call of the ref at the,
when it slows it down.
What the game is.
It takes the flow out of the game.
One last thing I want to tell you about this Gainesville story, and it may not be completely accurate, but I heard about this story on the radio, and they were saying that the team that was playing Gainesville. Yeah, there's discussion here about ripping off helmets, and that seems to be a common theme. Which was super dangerous, right? It's dangerous, absolutely.
You can mess somebody up, doing that.
And and now you don't have head protection on top of they ripped your helmet off, and who knows what it did to your head or neck or whatever. That apparently one of these guys that got their helmet ripped off, a guy from the other team came about 40 yards down the field in a sprint and took a shot at him. Well, these are so now it's bad enough if there's just a fight going on and there's helmets coming off and there's, and they're banging into pads or whatever, or they're hitting people in the helmet. And there's a lot of things about a football fight that are pretty silly, but somebody coming and bolting and hitting you blindsided
while you don't have a helmet on,
that sort of took it even to another level. So
wasn't there I think it was a fight that happened where a helmet got ripped off and then somebody took their helmet and like,
oh yeah, that guy got suspended like for the rest of the year. That was Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
And the Pittsburgh quarterback. If you had said that and Nathan was here this week instead of last week,
he would actually have talked loudly in the
yes, he would have lost his stuff there. Yeah. That's pretty bad. And he I think that guy, it was like half a season he got suspended for doing that.
So I got two really quick hitting stories tonight. I want to pull up, if you think you've had a really bad day, I want you to see what a bad day really looks like. If Patrick, so this has happened in, I don't remember the name of the city now, but a crane is moving a porta-john on a bridge. And I want you to watch what happens. And the poor car heading towards us. I saw it.
Do I play the sound or no?
I would not play.
So you're saying this crane that's
I don't know what's in the sound, so I don't know.
So there's a tower crane, and right here is a porta potty that they are lifting. I guess we're lifting it
already.
Up on top
Looks like a bad idea.
Over moving traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no! That cloud.
The
mist. Good.
That car
was a brown fog.
That was not that blue stuff that's inside.
So first of all, this is not in the U.S. because of the license plates, but also OSHA would have an absolute come apart.
Yeah, OSHA would have
lifting a live load over people.
I guarantee you,
literally a
live load.
If that live load hit my car, I'm driving off the bridge. That's it for me. I can't.
That is
anymore.
a very expensive way to move a porta potty.
Oh, goosh! That is awful.
And if you're looking at YouTube, the heading is "Portable Toilet Falls from Something."
Yeah,
that ought to be enough for you to get it.
Yeah. Let's just say the crane dropped a load on the roadway.
Where is this Centenary Bridge?
It's in Spain.
Oh, did it say Spain right there?
I just knew. No, I'm just kidding. It says
Seville, Spain. Yeah.
Drew's sort of he's a bridge savant.
I studied bridges.
That's the second time though,
other than
because
Hebrew,
when I sent a picture from San Francisco, you got me to the cross street that I took that picture.
That was impressive.
How did you do that?
That was impressive.
Haight Ashbury is a famous place in San Francisco where all the hippies were in the 60s. And that picture you showed, it just looked, it had that vibe
so
to it.
You didn't do something or have...
I didn't Google that one.
You just knew that's where it was.
That one.
Okay, yeah.
He's really good at where in the world is Carmen Sandiego.
I watch a lot of Monk, which is in San Francisco.
Okay, so my actual story I want to talk about tonight falls under Critter Chronicles.
Oh, I'm not ready for that.
I'll say it again. The actual story I want to talk about tonight falls under the category of Critter Chronicles. All right. Now, Patrick has a soundbite that when I point at you, Patrick, I'll need the soundbite played, but we're going to wait on it. All right. So a motorist in North Carolina had a pretty bad day. This article's from November 21st. Luckily, the motorist escaped injury when a cat crashed through the passenger side of her windshield along a highway near the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. In a call to 911, this driver on Route 74 in Swain County told a dispatcher that a bald eagle dropped the cat. And the cat literally went through the windshield of the car, which leads me to my soundbite, Mr. Patrick.
Thing had 9 lives. She just spent them all.
Woo! So,
thank you.
Can you imagine driving down a road minding your own business and something comes crashing through your windshield, and it's a huge hole. You should see the picture. Big hole in the windshield. And it is, and there's now the carcass of a cat. Now, I read a couple of stories. It sounds like the cat may have already been deceased before it hit the windshield.
Let's hope
it was certainly deceased after it hit the windshield.
Oh my.
But can you imagine that happening? And how about a bald eagle is a giant bird? It picked a cat up and dropped the cat.
Did it say what kind of cat?
Dead.
Well, yeah, dead cat. But are we talking house cat? Are we talking panther?
I don't know.
Wait, hold on.
No,
are there panthers in North America? Are we talking bobcat?
I'm guessing domestic cat.
I bet it was a
little calico.
The best we can tell, it was an extremely surprised cat.
It was a very surprised.
The last thing that went through its mind was either a talon or windshield. I'm not sure.
Here you go, Jason. Highway patrol officials said the driver of the vehicle was not injured. However, the cat is deceased.
I don't know if you'll be able to find it. There was a video of them trying to resuscitate the cat, and it's not a very good looking video. It's
really?
Little foo-foo poodles is not there. Yeah. When they put the little paddles on it, it was just a poof of fur. Poof.
Meow.
But I looked up. So a bald eagle can pick up things that are like 4 or 5. It said sometimes up to 6 pounds, deciding on the size of the bird and if it's just picking it up versus trying to fly with it. So if you have cats and you don't like them and you live near bald eagles, leave them outside.
Yeah.
When the bald eagle was reached for comment, he said, I think he was a little heavier than 5 or 6 pounds.
Yeah. Known for a symbol of freedom, power, and peace. And for killing cats.
This says the cat was already dead.
Yeah.
But before the
how
eagle,
would they know? Really?
It was
after
probably
that
cat autopsy.
collision. How would they know?
It was the autopsy.
I'm surprised
they
they
did
could
an
tell
autopsy.
because after they did the paddles on it, clear. It was just fur ball.
Yep.
That's the sound it made. All right, that's all I've got. Like I said, it was a brief story tonight, but I saw that story. And
One more time, what was that sound? Oh, okay, that's what it made.
Yeah.
You know, the last time you were doing that, the this whole system, this high quality system we have set up, filtered all of that out as pops.
I know.
And I'm sure some people were really confused.
Yeah, I noticed that when I
Why's
listened back
Jason
to
not
it.
saying anything?
Yeah,
And they say keep doing it.
Yeah.
Jason, keep not saying
If
anything.
it could just filter out me coughing and clearing my throat 100 times an episode, it would be nice.
Do we have a bad preacher tonight?
I don't have one prepared, but
We'll have something.
let's let it be a surprise if we come back with one.
We're
or
going to
not.
come back with something after these commercial messages. Oh, we do have commercial messages. I was making a joke and that reminded me. Riddle Creek Publishing is our sponsor. Riddle Creek Publishing has a number of titles for Christian studies. There are also works on chronic illness. You can also find fiction. The latest is my novel, Out of the Thicket. We just had a successful release party last Saturday.
You sold out, right?
Sold out. Thanks to everybody who came out. It was a great time. We'll be
sold out of books, not to the man.
Right. Yeah. No way. Never. Never would sell out to the man.
Yeah.
Sold out of books and the Out of the Thicket book. There's still plenty of others in inventory. We'll be restocking Out of the Thicket here soon. Thanks to everybody who made that such a special day. We're really excited. We got more coming out. The next book that's coming out is my dad, Andy Kaiser's writing a book on heaven. The release date for that is December 25th. So Christmas Day. Get ready to get a copy of that. We've been going through that study in some of our Bible classes here.
Yeah, I've been in that class that Drew's led. We've spent probably the second half of our quarter about talking about it, and it's amazing. The number of things that have come up in our discussions that I've never really thought about before. And, you know, I've grown up in the church. It's just a really good study to sort of dig into heaven a little bit. You know, we've all got thoughts about it, but to go back to particular verses and try to understand a little bit in a little more depth, most of all, probably gives us a little more to think about in terms of longing for heaven.
Yeah,
Good book.
Hey,
The
and
book-
go ahead.
The book is dedicated to my mother, who founded Riddle Creek Publishing. The sponsorship is in her memory. And I believe the dedication page that my dad wrote is to Mary Jane Kaiser, who knows more about the afterlife than I do. So it's really touching.
That is really, really
Awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
I do want to say thank you to Riddle Creek too at the book signing. Really cool of them to bring some of their merch. They had their mugs there,
Yeah.
and they were doing if you bought a book, you got a mug. I had a little coffee in my Riddle Creek mug the other night.
They're nice mugs. It's my favorite mug I have. So maybe we put some on the website for sale. But right now, it's just books for sale on Riddle Creek. Check it out and be looking for the book on Heavens coming out Christmas Day.
All right, we'll take a quick break. It'll be a surprise what comes next. And here's a little from the Marshutes. Welcome back, passengers. It is time for tonight's passage. And I've kind of started being on the lookout for passages in the wild. I think that started with the seeking quote we did, where I found that on the side of the road. But tonight's passage actually comes from your book signing, Drew. Your coach from you've said his name a couple of times now.
Martin Juarez of Juarez Boxing.
Yeah. Showed up to your book signing, and I've never met the guy. I still actually haven't met the guy, even though I stood really close to him during your Q&A with Jason. But while you were signing his book, I noticed his shirt, and on the back of his shirt was tonight's passage, what would become tonight's passage. So I'll read it, and then Drew, you can give us a little history on Martin and kind of your relationship with him, and then we can get into it. So here's the passage. He who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing in life. That's from Muhammad Ali.
Yeah. So that's the Juarez Boxing shirt. I've got one. Pretty much everybody that works out there has at least one of those shirts. And that's Martin's favorite quote. It's kind of his life principle that he lives by. Muhammad Ali is his hero. Martin, so I'll tell you a little bit about Martin. He started out as an amateur boxing, went into professional boxing for a while. And boxers usually don't have very long careers because for most of them, it doesn't pay well, and you're getting beat to a pulp all the time. You're just putting your body through these awful things. I know last time he told me, I think Martin said he had 23 concussions.
Whoa.
And so he had to quit for his health.
The fact he can put a sentence together is impressive.
But he has a seizure disorder that he has to take medication for.
Wow.
So he got into fitness, and he started teaching fitness classes, and then he heard about this program called Rock Steady Boxing. It's a boxing program to help people with Parkinson's disease. And around the time I was diagnosed, he was getting trained. He and his partner, Danny Egley, were up in Indiana getting training for it. You guys, I started talking to you about it. Y'all were going to go with me to Indianapolis to get the training. We wanted to do it so badly.
We talked about like what we would put in your garage.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yes. And we would have never been able to do it because of the time, getting all our schedules to match up, knowing what I know now. But it was really touching that y'all wanted to do that, and we would have made a good go at it. But it was so fortunate that Martin and Danny were getting the training right at the time I was diagnosed. I was diagnosed in January, and the following May, I was in the first class. That was 9.5 years ago.
It was when we were like talking about going up there. The people up there told you about Martin. Is that right? Do I remember that correctly?
Yes, I called to make reservations for certification to go up there and get certified to do this. And they said, you can, I told them a little about my situation and they understood. Said, you can certainly come up. There are a couple of guys here right now from Birmingham. And I'll ask if I can pass your number on to them or their number on to you. And if they're okay with it, you can give them a call. So I said, absolutely. And they gave me his number. I called him and we had a great conversation. That's where it all started. So I see him 2 or 3 times a week for 9.5 years. And he's become one of my best friends. He's, my coach in this boxing program. I believe he and Danny, what they do in that gym for me and others suffering from Parkinson's has made my symptoms so much more manageable, and has kept my spirits up as it's a way to fight the disease. And exercise is the only thing that scientists have discovered that will slow the progression of the disease. Medicine can manage symptoms, but it can't slow the progress. Only exercise. And it's a particular kind of exercise. It has to be intense. The more intense, the better. And boxing is intense and it stays intense. So I could go on and on and on about this program. I think if there's anybody out there suffering from Parkinson's, get involved in a Rocksteady boxing program. If you're in the Birmingham area, go to Juarez Boxing as soon as possible and sign up. You'll love it. It's a great support group. And I mean, just the fact that on a Saturday during an Alabama game, Alabama was playing at the time, as I know Tim knows for sure. On a Saturday, when the Alabama game's going on, and 100 other things, this guy who could just look at me as a client came out to my book signing to surprise me, just to support me.
That was really I saw him walk in the door before I think you saw him come in, and it was just really cool. I think he was, you could see the excitement on his face for you. And that was a really, really cool thing to see. Now I hear maybe he likes to nickname some of his people in his class. Do you have a nickname in the boxing class?
Yeah. Everybody in the class gets a nickname. And mine is the Punchin' Preacher.
I love it.
Does he call you? Does he refer to you as that in the class?
A lot.
It's like a call sign.
Sometimes I'm Punchin' Preacher. Sometimes I'm Drew. When Julie comes, he gives her nickname. When she comes to volunteer, he calls her KO Kaiser. Everybody has a nickname.
I love it.
My favorite, there's a nun, like an actual nun who works out with us. And he calls her second to none, Sister Mary.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That is well played.
So he's a lot of fun. I've never seen him down. He's always excited, happy, laughing, just full of energy. And it was really great to see him and so many others at the book signing. But this quote is his life motto. He who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing in life. Something else I should remind everybody, I think everybody knows, Muhammad Ali had Parkinson's disease.
I don't think I knew that.
It can be caused by head trauma. We know that. Other things can cause it as well.
Of which Mr. Ali had a lot of.
He had a lot of head trauma.
Do people still ask you when you start telling them about about Juarez Boxing, and y'all don't call it Rocksteady, right?
No, we call Martin's class is a little different. It's called PD Fight Club, but it's the same concept, same basic concept.
I remember when I would first start telling folks what you were doing, and I talked to him about repetitive motion or whatever, and he's like, well, isn't that like what gave Ali? And I'm like, no, they're not fighting.
They're not hitting one another.
My doctor said that. I was telling him about the program. I was really excited about it. And he said, boxing is how you get Parkinson's. I said, we're not hitting each other in the head. We hit bags.
My money, though, if y'all were actually hitting each other, I'd have some money on you. I've seen some of the people in your group,
yeah,
and I'm pretty sure you could take a number of them.
He might have the belt.
Now, I have the second to
like
none might take you down, though.
She's pretty spry.
Yeah.
That might be my new favorite pun. That's
It's
so good.
That is really.
Oh,
well
he's
done.
got some good ones. I won't go over all of them, but they're funny.
Let me ask you one other thing. I love to talk about his business or whatever.
Mhm.
So you started in his first class, and then it really has sort of exploded, right? In terms of
Yeah.
what he's doing in this area. How he has like multiple classes. About how many people with Parkinson's does he have in his? He still does other kinds of training, right?
He trains professional boxers, amateur boxers, and then he runs boot camps just for fitness training. And I've been to some of those, and they're a whole different ball game from what we do in the Parkinson's group. First class, we had 8 people there, and now he has about 140, 150 boxers.
I know every patient that comes through my office with Parkinson's, I tell them about it.
Some of your patients are in the class.
And I have, you've told me it's okay from time to, I always ask you before, but I'll pass your information on to get them contacted with it. So,
Yeah.
And y'all moved into a bigger facility, right? I mean,
Right. We had to move facilities.
Yeah. That's great.
And he goes over, at the beginning of class. So a preaching friend of mine has recently started coming, and he got diagnosed a little after I did. I've been trying to get him to come. He finally started coming. He loves it. And we were standing next to each other, and Martin was going over the announcements. And he was like, this person's in the hospital. This person passed away. His funeral, such and such time. I'm going to go out. If you want directions, let me know. I sign up for this. There's a study going on. Blah. And Mike, my friend, leaned over and whispered, "This is like church."
Martin's a man after my own heart.
Yeah, I was
doing
gonna say.
announcements.
Yeah, see, he can do the announcements for real.
Yeah.
No, it's great.
My earliest memory, I think I learned about Parkinson's from Muhammad Ali. The first time I remember seeing the symptoms of Parkinson's was the 96 Olympics
When
in
he lit
Atlanta.
the torch.
Do you
Yeah,
remember
I
that?
do.
He lit
I
the
do.
torch, and I saw that, and it was sad. I got really sad because I knew how strong and what a fierce athlete he was. And the medication's better these days, and they have surgical options, which everybody who's a listener knows that I've been through that. And so he didn't have anything controlling his symptoms. It didn't seem, and the nerves were going. But him lighting that torch was the first time I saw it. And, the tremor was really, really obvious, and, he was debilitated. And then he fought for decades after that, and was an advocate for Parkinson's and a strong voice for courage and taking risks. So this is a great quote to talk about. I think I've said this before on the podcast. We've had other quotations like this, which I like to be reminded of because I'm risk averse by nature. I like to play it safe, but I also know so many successful people, if you read their stories, the common thread is they take risks. People who become really wealthy don't do it by hiding their talent in the ground. They invest it. And sometimes they take risky investments, and they're willing to lose it. And they're not afraid, if they lose it, they think, well, it's money. We can get some more. We'll figure it out. And it's not just with money. It's with all kinds of things. Anything you've been given.
Right. Sometimes just general decisions. It's like, well, we could just, if we think about like things we do here at church, right? We can, either sort of tread water, or we can sort of step out and try to do something different. And you know, it feels like a risk, right? So, but you know, the things that are worth, you know, sort of fighting for, worth trying to achieve, they're worth taking some risk over. And, you know, Drew, I'd put myself in that same group of sort of, you know, of being risk averse, right? I'm not a big risk taker, but I appreciate the idea of you've got to take at least calculated risk, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that those two words together are acceptable. You know, you don't just take, you know, you're not flippant in the decisions you make in your life, but if you don't take some calculated risk, you know, you're not going to make big advances in anything you do.
Yeah.
I think too, sometimes when we talk about risk taking and those that are successful, we think of those big examples that are in some of the, I mean, there's books out there that are written about these extremely successful people that started by taking risk. And we think about risks being these gigantic, you know, scary things that are almost overwhelming. But there's a lot of little risks we take every day that we take for granted. I mean, it's simplistic, probably oversimplifying it, but getting out of bed in the morning is a risk. Getting in my car and driving to work is a risk. Sitting down and starting a conversation with somebody who is new that you don't know well, whether you're sharing the gospel or you're just sharing a story, that's a risk. You're risking rejection. You're risking, you know, driving to work. You're risking an accident. I mean, there's risks in everything we do. And sometimes I think when we talk about risk taking, we think so much about, well, I've got to get a second mortgage on my house to go and try to start this new upstart, and I hope it goes well. Or, you know, I'm going to sell everything I've got and move to this other country. Or, you know, we think of these massive risks, but there's a lot of little, I mean, raising a child, we all have children. Raising our kids is a risk.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of little things. And I think that's the key to this quote, is for him to say that he who is not courageous enough to take risk will accomplish nothing in life. Well, nothing in life is hard to accomplish. It is really hard to say, I've lived my whole life and accomplished nothing. But those who are truly risk averse, they live in their own fear and they don't do anything. They're trapped in this shell of being within, and they're not meeting people. They're not going, I mean, they're not going to church. They're not making friendships. I mean, because all those things, I mean, if I make a friendship, I risk losing a friendship. You know, there's risk in that. I'm risking being known. I'm risking being exposed and open and vulnerable. And that's where this quote comes true, because I can accomplish a lot in life without taking a second or third mortgage on my home and doing some crazy upstart business that may or may not work. I can still risk a lot of things and accomplish a lot. They don't have to all be these great, big, huge pie in the sky kind of risk.
And don't all have to involve money.
That's right. That's right.
They involve a lot of other things.
Relationships are a risk.
Just taking chances in life, right? Stepping out.
Yeah.
And, you know, and making yourself vulnerable in some way, that there's a risk that goes along with that. This may not go the way I would like.
Well, and I think of you two, both of you, saying that you're risk averse. And so you may be risk averse to some of these huge, huge things. I don't know that I would call you risk averse, but both of y'all chose adoption as an option for children. You talk about a leap of faith and a giant risk. That's a risky thing. And I think there is courage shown in that. And you think of the things that you have accomplished because of your children and having your family, and the things that your children are going to accomplish and pass on to other people. And that was you deciding to take a risk. That was, hey, we're in a situation where if we want a family, we have to make a really big decision. And I'm going to take this risk. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know how this plays out. I mean, I know you did your research into it and you did your homework about it, But man, I respect y'all a ton because you say you're not risk averse. You invited people into your homes and they are your children. When I see your children, I don't think, these are their adopted children. I think this is Drew's kids. This is Tim's kids. And that took a lot of courage. So don't discount yourself very much on that. And the lives you changed on both their side, but also how they've changed your lives and enriched your lives. That's all from taking a risk. And that if that was the only thing you did in life that was risky, that's a pretty impressive thing to do.
As you're saying that, I'm just thinking, what do we mean by risk? We're almost using the word like it's something you do foolishly. But that's not what a risk is. What is a risk? Risk is stepping into the unknown. That's what it is.
It's a leap of faith.
But it's not even the unknown. Stepping out.
It's stepping
to
out
something
of
new.
It's stepping out of your comfort.
Out of your comfort.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah. That's what I've been looking at it wrong. I've been thinking of risk as the unknown, but that's not what it is. It's new or out of the comfort zone.
Yeah. You chose to have a brain surgery to help control symptoms of your disease. If that ain't a risk, I don't know what is. You were awake and they're poking and prodding in your brain.
And these
That's
examples,
risky.
So the encouraging thing about these examples is I look back on adoption. That was something new. And I'm so glad I did. There's no regrets at all. It's something that worked wonderfully, and it all happened the way that people I talked to beforehand told me it would happen. It's just natural as anything. Same with the brain surgery. Doctors are like, this is really, as far as brain surgery goes, this is a really minor operation. It's kind of like going to the dentist.
Minor.
Somebody said it's kind of like going to the dentist.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that. But looking back, I think, what was I so afraid of?
Well, I can remember the time we saw you before the surgery. You were coming up on your surgery date and you were like, guys, I love y'all. I don't know how this is going to go, but I love y'all. And that was a fearful thing.
Yeah, it was. I can remember years before, just years and years before, right? We would talk about this and the thing was, it was always being awake while they were doing that surgery.
Yeah.
And just, the unknown of that, really was a huge step.
But I knew all the facts about it. I knew the brain doesn't feel pain. I knew that people have done it, survived it. I knew that the success rate was high. So it wasn't the unknown. It was new, something I never experienced before. And then having experienced, I look back and how I acted according to knowledge in moving into a new place. And I'm glad I did it. And I think, what was I so afraid of?
We talk about risk, and this quote makes me think of we've all heard the phrase "fortune favors the bold" or the brave. When we think about risk, we can talk about there is unknown risk. I'm going to do something and I've got no clue, right? But I think the most prevalent kind of risk people run into are what you're talking about, which is just new or uncomfortable or stepping out on a limb, so to say. It's not truly unknown. And a lot of those people that do that, I kind of liken it to people have a fear of rejection. That's why you won't go up and talk to somebody in line at Chick-fil-A or whatever, right? You've got a fear of rejection. I think people who do this really well either have overcome or just don't have an innate fear of rejection. And rejection, I don't mean, I mean, rejection could be losing the money that you've invested.
Just a fear of failure.
Yeah. Fear of failure. Yeah. I think those are I mean, really, they're the same thing.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, a rejection is failure. Being rejected.
Rejection is just on the side of, I see rejection on the relationship side, where failure is more of a more practical.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I was unable to complete this task or whatever.
right. So if you think about risk as sort of fortune, right? The people who take risk are the ones who accomplish things in life. Then, to your point, Drew, if you're bold and you just kind of, with some calculation, go into things, those are the people who have, lots of success in lots of different things. I mean, adoption or brain surgery, both of those things have been very successful to people in this room. But there's people that, took the risk and didn't work out for it, but it was never going to be anything better if they didn't take the risk.
Right. I wrote down, I think Drew said this just a minute ago, just the question, what was I so afraid of?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times when we think about risk, and Patrick, when you mentioned like people who seem to not have that fear, I think really what they do is in a lot of cases, they have this question in the right perspective. What was I so afraid of?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, because so often, and I think about this often in terms of one of the things that I have a big hang up around is difficult conversations,
Mm-hmm.
right? And having difficult conversations. But if you can really put that in the lens of, think about that conversation being over, and it may go perfectly, it may go horribly, or more likely it's going to go somewhere in between, right? It's not going to be everything you dreamed it would be. And you're having this difficult conversation, and, you transform someone's life or something, and it goes just 100% the optimum way you think it could. At the same point, it doesn't end with somebody chewing you out and saying, I never want to speak to you again.
Mm-hmm.
It's somewhere in between. And when that's over, where it likely would be, if you can really think about, what was I so afraid of, right?
Yeah.
Why was I afraid to just engage in a conversation with someone? I know how I'm going into it. I'm not going to try to, throw gasoline on a fire or something like that. I'm just going to have what might be a difficult conversation, but I'll try to have it with the right attitude. And if you can think about it, as if it's already happened, and, where it likely would end, sometimes I think it would help us be more bold, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes just that step feels so daunting sometimes. And that probably goes to a lot of different risks.
Well, we're our own worst enemies because we let that fear of the unknown just overwhelm us. And it's like most things, if you actually face it and work through it, usually there's very few things in my life I have gone through where when I got done with the project or through that process or whatever I was working on, I didn't kick myself a little bit for doing it sooner. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, that actually worked out pretty well. I don't know why. Because it's our nature to look at every potential failure, and then we amplify what that failure really is going to be.
Right.
We overshoot in our estimation of what it's going to be like when things go wrong. And the majority of the time, even if it goes wrong, it's not a big deal. It's not a major thing. And a lot of times we miss healing, we miss developing relationships, we miss opportunities because we don't take that risk of stepping out of our comfort zone.
Tim, you made me think of probably the two hardest days I've ever had at my job. And those were, I've had to let two people go over the years, and I hope I don't ever have to let anybody else go. But the first one I won't talk about because it was, for many reasons, not great. But the second one, guy just wasn't going to succeed. And we tried, we gave him multiple chances, moving around different teams, and just it wasn't going to work out. And we ended up with the decision of we're gonna have to let him go. And it's like the nicest guy you could ever meet, would give you the shirt off his back, but wasn't making the team better. And so, of course, in the few weeks leading up to, I'm just a ball of stress. And after it was done, and about a week and a half later, he already had another job, and that job gave him a promotion and from what I heard, a pretty significant pay raise. So, this wasn't really like a risk, but in the difficult conversation, like if you can envision sort of what you want the outcome to be, and then get through the difficult conversation, sometimes you can manifest that outcome. So 2 things. One, our team is stronger because we're not kind of dragging somebody along. And I hate to say it that way, but and 2, this guy got, a better air quote lot in life from this. He was just never going to get working where
maybe in a situation where he has a chance to be successful.
Right.
And you had figured out he's never going to be successful in this space.
Yeah. So he, as far as I know, he's doing really well where he is. And that turned out to be great. But, to your kind of thoughts on tough conversations, that's the kind of sort of conversation of, at this point, we're not correcting anything anymore. We're ending our relationship here. I have more trouble with the, hey, you need to do better, or you need to do this differently, or you need to change the behavior, because it's not like it just ends at the end of this conversation. We're
going to have to revisit this.
Right. I got to come back around now in 30 days and we're going to have to talk about this again. And let's be honest, you're not really changing people's behaviors in a major way these days not these days with, like can't teach old dogs new tricks kind of thing. Once somebody is an adult, they're kind of set. And if they're doing something disruptive or whatever, you're not really going to go change the way they are. So maybe them finding, the next, their next thing in life where they can be that way and it not be disruptive.
Anytime I've ever fired somebody, I've always told them, I'm giving you a new opportunity to find something that's a better fit.
Yeah.
And usually that's been true.
And I hope I never become numb to it. I think,
it's awful.
It's terrible.
Awful. But wrenching.
But thinking about it, like you just said it, of in the end, I'm giving this person a better opportunity, makes it, this much easier, a little bit easier on the front end, even though it's still really tough. That's not really, courageous and risk taking, but in the vein of,
having that conversation is taking a risk.
Yeah.
We're out of time, but we should have talked more about faith here, because that's where the courage comes from to take the risk. For the Christian, it's faith, and it's Joshua, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. The Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. And if you believe in the presence of God, you can say with Paul, if God is for us, who can be against us? And that's very important. That's what makes the difference between somebody out there in the world and the Christian. And Christianity, like all these other things we've been talking about, I suppose is a risk, because, the early Christians and people in other parts of the world right now have lost their lives for it. There's no greater risk than that, something that could take your life from you. But for the Christian, it's a calculated risk, if you want to use Tim's term, because after death, it only gets better. And that's the faith of the gospel. And the faithful are that way to death. The greatest risk of all.
Yeah. Why does sometimes taking a leap of faith feel so risky? Well, why does most of the time taking a leap of faith feel so risky? That's sort of the faith part, right?
Because it's usually with reference to dangers and unknowns and
we forget
new places, new things.
We forget that ultimately it's not in our control a lot of times.
Yeah.
We try to be in control, and by being in control, we put all the pressure on ourselves. And if you believe that God, your higher power, can work in your life and will do what he's promised in the Bible, well, you're taking a lot of control out of that. You're putting it into God's hands and trusting in what Scripture tells us. And that's, hey, for somebody
like
that's
in a driverless car.
for somebody that's controlling, that sounds terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have control issues, it's a lot
really
harder.
harder.
Yeah.
Great quote.
Great quote. Thanks everybody for listening.
Hey, before we go,
Yeah.
can you just ask Martin next time you see him while you were signing his book, why he was
You can see his
changing his temperature
At his house.
He likes to keep it at 72 degrees.
I noticed that in the picture. You can see his
sauna.
And he
In
was,
Jason's world, that's a sauna.
Yeah, that right there means the air
Tim's too.
If it's 72, the air conditioner's broken.
that's funny.
We'll put this up on the socials and everybody can see what we're talking
I
about.
tell you, if we ever get to a point where we bring people in and interview, he would be a really interesting guy to talk to.
I did an interview with him on my Wide Margins podcast from long ago.
I think I remember that.
I don't remember. Those aren't up for people to listen to anymore, but yeah, maybe we'll do interviews one day and he'd be somebody I might be able to coax in here. We may have to go on location to do that.
Right.
I bet
Take
he
it on
would
the
be
road.
more willing to talk than Nathan would be in here, though.
Well, we're Nathan's opening up.
He's trying.
Jason and I had to do some slick talking to get him in the studio to begin with. We might have misled him.
Yeah, because we had told him we wouldn't even acknowledge that he was in here. And the first thing I said was, we got Nathan sitting in here with us.
Yeah. It was fun having him on. Appreciate everybody for listening. That's all the time we have. But we are making plans for episode 100, which is right around the corner. We're excited about that and excited to share the plans for that. It'll be a big celebration. We never thought we'd get there.
I thought we would.
It's only
Jason has always known that we'd make it.
only 5 more episodes.
Oh,
That is
wow.
crazy.
5 to go. 5 to go. So it's been a wild ride, and we look forward to more. Stay tuned. There's more to come on Passages.